Well, here we go. It's do or die for Renegades in this particular series. Not for all of IEM, of course, as they will drop down into the lower bracket should they lose here. But for a place that's guaranteed at Qudos Bank Arena, this series is pretty important. I think it's fair to say.
100%. NiP coming in with full momentum, and it's exactly what Moses said. I mean, this is one of the most played maps. They've for NiP, the last two events that they were at, they played it 8 times between Pro League and Star Series, so they should be fairly comfortable, and they've definitely got their reps in, and they're looking pretty sharp. This is a Renegade's opportunity to be able to wake up a little bit and try to put a map on the board in this series.
Well, let's see whether or not they are going to be able to do that, executing out straight onto the A bomb site with the pistol here. Get Right will maybe be the only little thorn in their side as they get the bomb down, but he's forced away by the flashbangs there in CT spawn. It's a full retake setup for NiP. They have one smoke to work with to get back into this bomb site. A difficult ask indeed, but they have been fairly sharp with their shots and particularly with their pistols as well throughout this series and throughout today. So let's see if they can make it work. Gratisfaction here looks to take the first contact, and he gets a bink across onto Get Right, but Dennis the Menace, you might as well call him, gets the 2 into the CT spawn. Azza and Gratisfaction able to trade back, and JKS will get the head of Get Right as well. Now into a 2v1. Can Dennis clutch it out? The answer is no. Renegades will win the first pistol round here on Mirage. And a much better start here on the second map than it was on the first for them.
Heading into that retake, I was worried for NiP because there were so many players stacked in towards jungle and it was looking very, very one-dimensional. But in all reality, the only player who actually puts any kills on the board was Dennis, who was a solo player coming in from that CT spawn area. So bit of a weird turnaround, but really once those players do start to run into the crossfire of Renegades and make their way onto the bomb site through that jungle area and towards triple, all the players, all the Ts start peeking and hitting their headshots, and that was really the end of NiP, who will force up into this round to try to reverse the effects of the pistol.
It's always a bit scary when you go for that 5v5 retake, isn't it? You know, because there is such a weight of firepower that you have to go up against. Renegades in this round, though. There's a little bit of firepower actually on the side of NiP. You've got the scout there for Get Right, the FAMAS for Dennis.
Actually they do catch Forest off over rotating from the right side of window because they threw those A smokes out, and that really caused NiP to think they were making their way in towards this A bomb site. But as we do see often on this map, they were just throwing those A smokes to be able to draw the rotations away from middle, to be able to take control of that part of the map.
Well, this is a little bit dire straits for Renegades here against their pistols. They're having a tough time. Gratisfaction will also fall to the Deagle of Elecro. We're headed in toward the B bomb site right now. Well, it's just Liaz with the MAC-10. Azza's got barely any HP to work with, so if Liaz can't actually manage to make some inroads here, this is going to be an absolute disaster for Renegades. He's run out of ammo and he's getting cleaned up by Dennis. Renegades, it was a force buy from NiP, sure, but this is not a round that you can lose in a match like this.
And you can see Cassard there staying nice and positive. There is no head-in-hands Cassard as we've seen in the past, even though they did get...
it's still early days.
Get 4 sport on. He's still just trying to pump everybody up and make sure that they're keeping their heads in the game, especially after getting absolutely pummeled on Nuke, and then you can't close out that round against the Force Spy in particular. You can start to get frustrated and get yourself out of the game and let your head get the best of you. But we will see if Renegades do actually fall, or whether they're going to be able to make sure they can convert this round. You do see Liaz dropping over the AK. This will be a force spy. It is the CZ's utility as well as the AK thrown over to one of those players. So potential for Renegades to be able to strike into this round, and with the Ninjas not really building up too much money just yet, as they did only just complete that force spy and didn't recover too many guns. There is an opportunity for Renegades to stop their momentum just as the Ninjas did to them.
Well, Lekro has definitely looked pretty solid here against Renegades. We had questions about how he was performing against a United. It took him a little while to get the ball rolling, but it's really been from the outset here against Renegades that he's been causing problems. Jacob will try to take that peek out onto A with the AK, but he gets tagged by the scout in response for the damage that he does over to Get Right. So I'm not sure that's altogether favourable for Renegades. Now, of course, the AK can be thrown around to those players with armor, but really when you have a single AK like this, you want to be making an impact with that first engagement. Otherwise, the surprise factor is gone.
Smoke's thrown out, and there is Rez on the flank here, but Dennis, he's going to hold on under balcony.
Hasn't been spotted just yet, gives away his position, but finds 3! And in fact, a 4th as well lines up for him. There may be an ace on the cards, not quite, as JKS does trade him out. But Dennis, well, I said he was Dennis the Menace in the pistol round, but more so I think in that gun round in particular, that was all Dennis.
Unbelievable. Since this man has come back, at least in this series in particular, He's been fragging like a monster. He had a pretty good map against the United as well, alongside Forest. So this really could be the danger factor. I mean, we talked about before Dennis sort of took this break, when he came into that NiP roster, everyone was getting a little bit excited and saying, oh man, if he plays like he did in Fnatic, then this NiP roster could be really dangerous to be contend with. And he hasn't really stepped up to that level, but that's one of those rounds that's pretty reminiscent of his old form on Fnatic. Just absolutely mops up that A play from Renegades by himself with a Famous, no less.
Yeah, I think he's one of those scary players that can do things like that. It's a double kill from the grenade for Forest. That'll be nice. You always like to see that. Good usage of the utility. Again, admittedly, against the pistols, not a big deal, but life's looking pretty easy here for NiP on Mirage. Renegades haven't made too many inroads outside of that pistol.
Good old casting curse. Said it was looking easy for them. They are having a bit of a struggle, copying a lot of damage and even losing a gun.
Jacob actually gets across into market, though. He made a bit of noise. Get right knows where he is. I mean, getting the bomb down there, I think for Renegades is about as good as you would hope.
Yep. Particularly if you're getting cleaned up that hard in mid and you don't really invest too much in that round in particular. But over on the side of NiP, going to start to get into the swing of things. 4 guns kept over, and all 4 of them will be those big boy rifles. Now Renegades had a bit of a wonky start to things, as they did get the pistol, but then quickly NiP won that force buy and shut them out. Shut their own force buy down, as well as that anti-eco. So now Renegades, another opportunity for them to get their way back into the series, but they're probably going to need to win 2 gun rounds back-to-back to sort of break down this CT economy a little bit more. So it's not just this round, but the following one as well. It's danger territory for Renegades.
Certainly is. Rez trying to control middle here. Does have the backup of 1 or 2 teammates. Oh my goodness me, that is fantastic indeed. Rez with 3 on the spray down. Forest, of course, helping out with the flashbang. And that again is just disaster for Renegades. They have been cleaned up. 4 guns through for NiP. It doesn't seem like Mirage is going to be any different to Nuke.
Yeah, the protocol is really creating space for Renegades to come out mid, and Rez was so blind, but it's exactly what you said. It's not just the Ts who have flashbangs, the CTs from Catwalk and Window were supporting with the flashes as well, which didn't create enough room for Renegades to actually pick off Rez and take advantage of the fact that he was flashed. All players were blind, and Rez was the sharpest one to come out of it. Cleans up all of the Renegades, a situation that he should never be able to allow to get away with, and that's just Renegades looking very sloppy indeed. Not taking advantage of the protocols that they've set in place.
Protocols probably won't matter in a round like this. Pistols and armor, all that Renegades have to play with. They haven't really been able to make inroads with the rifles. Who's to expect that they'll be able to get it done with the pistols here? NiP not skipping a beat at the moment. Dennis drops 2. Rez will drop another. And all of a sudden, only 2 Renegades players are left alive. It's very dire straits here for Renegades.
Yeah, you got all these aimers starting to warm up on NiP. Dennis and Rez in particular, but also Forrest has had a pretty good tournament for himself, that game against the United in particular. If you missed that one on the B stream, the man was going absolutely mental. When you get as many kills as how old you are, it's pretty scary indeed. Yep. When he's like 30. Pretty impressive.
Well, Dennis still has a few to put on his name before he reaches that mark, but he's doing well for himself. 12-3 after 6 rounds, having great impact. So is Rez. I mean, those are the 2 that are leading from the front. The other guys, admittedly, haven't really had much to do. Not that they've needed to.
Don't really need to when Dennis is just 4King from under balcony and Rez is cleaning up 3 in middle. But finally, an advantage for Renegades as it punishes Rez down in that underpass. Next player to contend with will be Dennis. It's a double connector set up for NiP, and on the other sides of the map, Lecro deep in B apartments, locking it down with the AWP is not going to allow Renegades to get territory in that part of the map, and is getting a lot of information for NiP to be able to inform that they can stay with this double con setup and lean back on the fact that Get Right can play retake on this A bomb site, but pushed off the angle is Lecro.
Yeah, as it has fallen as well. So we're back to a 4v4. Gratisfaction just slowly creeping its way through mid. He'll drop in Forest. Where on earth has that come from? Again, Renegades, these aim duels are just not working out at all. NiP are getting all of it. And we're back into a 2v4. NiP are looking phenomenal right now.
Absolutely shutting Renegades out of this game. Before Renegades can, you know, complete any of their executes or take any kind of mid control and actually get to the point in the round that they practice time and time again, they're just getting disrupted. They're getting shut down. All these NiP players just multi-fragging and shutting Renegades out of this game.
Well, the bomb attempt for retrieval is occurring courtesy of JKS, but that won't last too long. Liaz not able to get it done. 6 up for NiP. They are steamrolling forward toward Qudos Bank Arena right now. And towards an upper bracket final against Liquid for a spot in the semis. What a great 2K from Forest.
Shut down any hopes that Renegades might have had, and in a 4-on-4 on the T side, they could have potentially made something of that. But it was not to be. Yes, indeed. I mean, Renegades have gotten the best of NiP twice in a row, as that graphic said, but this might be the time where things turn around, because they really have not looked like their normal selves.
They've not looked the same, have they?
Yeah.
You can put that down maybe to the fact that Renegades haven't been playing with the core roster in Pro League and
That's right.
that sort of thing. But even still.
In comes the B smokes and the flashes to boot. Forest does just drop the nade as he doesn't have the Molotov to be using.
Missing the AWP shot, not going to have too much of an impact by the looks of things. Forest cleaning everybody up. Bomb plan is going to be incredibly difficult here for Renegades to get, and that is really the goal for them in this round. Gratisfaction, though, how is he managing to do this with the P250? Can't connect with the AK, of course. Can't get it up in time.
Actually misread the nades there. I thought Forest didn't even have a Molotov to be dropping, but he drops the HE nade and then just opts to shut down the push with the good old-fashioned AK. Just speaks to the mentality maybe that the man has at this point, because I think anybody else will be dropping the Molotov there, but he seems pretty comfortable just shooting Renegades as they try to drop out the apartments at him.
Yep.
I mean, it worked out. It's not missing any shots today, this man.
No, definitely not. He has been super, super consistent throughout the day's play. Great to see for NiP, and a scary prospect indeed for Renegades now, down 7-1 on the second map.
Get Right's going to go in on the off angle. Interested to see if Rez is going to send him into Palace with the flashbang here. Could potentially be an option. Here comes the execute in for the Renegades on this A-bomb site.
JK is just not ready. Did he have a knife out or something, a grenade? Whatever, doesn't matter. It's going to be a kill for NiP, and I feel like I'm getting a sense of deja vu as once again the A-bomb site so favorable here for NiP. Get Right gets another, and Gratisfaction, he's finally got the AWP in his hands, but what good is it going to do him in a 1v3?
And again, it's just the same thing for the Renegades. They try to go for their mid-control. They try to go for an A execute. They try to do anything, and half of them are dead before they even set foot on the bomb site, or they set foot in connector. Before they can even achieve their basic objective and head into the late round, they just get shut down by NiP. It's got to be demoralizing when you can't even move to the part of the round that you're actually aiming for in terms of whatever the objective is of the strategy that you're executing.
Gratisfaction has 40 seconds here, so when there's a player alive, there is still hope and a chance. But it is starting to slip away. With that said, he will likely be able to get a bomb down here, and from there, I guess anything is possible. If NiP makes mistakes, Gratisfaction is liable to hit those AWP shots. But with NiP coming from so many angles, I mean, it is not going to be easy here for Gratisfaction at all, unless he can get the first before the bomb even goes down. But it's too late. NiP have managed to creep up on him, and that'll be the round over. No worries at all for NiP.
No bomb down for the Renegades is going to make their money a little on the shaky side. Only 2 of the players above the 4K mark. The rest of them, you know, below that 3.7 that would get you the AK armor. So they might opt to potentially go for the pistol armor in this round in particular.
This is 8 rounds in a row as well for NiP, by the way. Renegades won the pistol, but nothing past that. So there's a big losers round bonus for Renegades. They can take solace in that.
You really got to point to the fact that so far today, NiP, we've casted all of their maps, and only one of the halves have they really let up, which was on the CT side of Nuke against E United. Every single other half that they played, they have been absolutely dominating their opponents.
Yeah.
And it's been these aimers just disruptively shutting down whatever the game plan is of their opponents time and time again, whether it's Dennis or Rez, Forest in that first game as well. Even now, Get Right is just holding down these bomb sites like a champ, and that shot that he hit from default, you know, in the off angle towards the Tetris area, just clicks on the head so cleanly. NiP just looks so much more switched on than the Renegades do right now.
Certainly, and it's just another pistol round out here for the Renegades, so it goes from bad to worse. They're not going to get anything done in this round. NiP still controlling middle fairly effectively. They're throwing the grenades into top mid, expecting one of the Renegades players might have pushed across there. Not the case. That's a better entry from Liaz, but it still is only a 4v4. If Azza gets this, however, now that's 2 guns that Renegades will potentially be able to take a hold of, and most definitely need to make use of.
Jacob's going to go back for the bomb so that they can potentially convert this round. Get right playing super safe in towards that CT area.
Well, that's nice.
That's a good job from him. Taking control of that jungle window area, which is something that he's usually so good at, but when he can't even get an opportunity to make his way halfway down mid or out underpass before he's shot, he can't really play to his strengths.
Need to be converting this round now as Renegades if they're to come back in this half and if they're to come back in this series. Azza, he needed a headshot there and he does manage to connect it on to Get Right. Lecro, he's been so dangerous with that deagle, but not this time. Finally a second round on the board for Renegades.
When you think of the Renegades on Mirage, you know, you think of Azza or Jacob in towards that connector or window area, just making some impact frags. Like, let's face it, when was the time on this map in particular you saw them even make it to that point? But as soon as Azza makes his way up con with that CZ and gets into that key position where he usually does so much work, he makes it happen.
Yeah, sure. Great. 1 round. I suppose 2 now for Renegades, but it needs to be more.
100%. But that 1 round where they do upgrade a lot of weapons is going to make their economy a lot better than it was before. So now Renegade's going to be mixing things up. Looks like a bit of a contact out the Palace. Probably JKS going to be sending them out there with a flashbang or 2.
Dennis spamming away through the smoke with the AWP, but doesn't connect. Liaz looks like he's copped a bink. The grenade goes through. It won't actually reach Liaz, who's holding very close now to CT spawn. He'll throw his own grenade back, and this one will connect on to Get Right. He's been taking some lessons from Gratisfaction in the last map on catching grenades. Bomb plant does go down. This is looking better now for Renegades in a 4v5, but it's still winnable for NiP, particularly with that grenade frag out from Lecro. So we go back into a 4v4. Gratisfaction is stuck on the site. The rest, post plants, not looking ideal just yet for Renegades. If these picks come across, though, it's certainly looking much better indeed. JKS, Gratisfaction all chiming in with a few. Gratisfaction will get 2. Nice shots out from the AWP, and now maybe a little bit of faith for Renegades.
Could potentially be the case. Still enough money to be able to buy into this one for NiP, but they are starting to run out of cash, and with very limited loss bonus built up because they've been absolutely pummeling the Renegades. If they do lose this gun round, potentially could be forced on some kind of a weird money territory where they're never able to quite get their money under control again if Renegades were starting to string some rounds together. So not to mention the fact that they'd won that pistol round and they pretty cleanly closed out that last round. You're seeing the effects of it on their economy. Despite the fact that they're down 8-3, they've got 3K plus on all of their players because they had that CZ buy that they won where they had 2K in the bank in the first place, and they are now winning that last gun round.
Oh, it's so scary to see Renegades firing through the smoke. Forrest has pushed his way up short and he catches the better of Jacob.
That mid-round aggression always key for the CT side on Mirage. Ross takes advantage of it from that catwalk area after losing the pick towards Connector, and now Renegades going to make their way back towards A, it looks like. JKS going to sneak his way through the Palace where Get Right waits for him with the UMP. Going to be a pretty key duel.
And he will catch JKS off guard, who's going to try and back away here in time, and he does just get around the corner. Makes like me and Neo dodging all of those bullets, but it's information for NiP. 2 players still anchoring on this A bomb site. Gratisfaction looks to be the one to make the entry, but in fact it's Liaz.
Dennis is pretty wounded here. Couple stray bullets and he could go down as well. The rotations are starting to come out for NiP.
Lots of utility here for Renegades, but they don't get the chance to use it. Dennis, how's he done that? He's put it back to a 2v2, and Forrest finds JKS as well. Again, just a chance for Renegades that might well go begging, but Azza, he's got other ideas. A great shot onto Lecro. He doesn't have control of the bomb though, Pilly. 20 seconds here for Azza. He needs to make a move, and Forrest knows it. Backs away, bides his time, and for Azza now, this is such a moment of indecision. Does he fake the plant? He allows Forrest to push on forward. This is a tough one for Azza to win, but he needs just the one headshot. So too, though, does Forrest, and the round will go the way of NiP.
Well, indeed, but with how close that one came, it's going to be a pretty difficult situation for NiP's economy. They do recover the AWP, but you can see all of these players are pretty broke, and they will only get, 3.5k or something like that for winning this round. So 3 of their players are around that amount of money, 4K on one of their players. So 2 of them are going to have to go down to some pretty lackluster weaponry. Whereas on the side of the Renegades, they've got plenty of money. They just don't have the rounds on the board just yet. Another opportunity for them to potentially reset NiP and put a foothold into this half.
Gosh, what a line for Dennis to hold. And then Forest cleans it up. It was a pretty straightforward 1v1 in the end there for Forest. It felt like that is one of the rounds that may well shift the favor once more further in the favor of Renegades and maybe, oh, sorry, the favor of NiP and out of the grasp of Renegades.
Renegades still do have a lot of money to be working with, as they did drop that last round and they haven't quite blown through their loss bonus just yet. So mid-control coming out for Renegades, and we will see them finally actually start to take control of this connector, which is usually the stock standard approach for them on Mirage. Getting Azza into this window, getting Jacob into the connector, but shut down again. Rez, who has been quiet for the last couple of rounds, does come alive and actually pick off Azza and shut down one of the big win conditions for Renegades early on in the piece. So in the 4-on-5, they're in danger territory again.
Jacob may well have been spotted here by Rez. Not quite. I think he's... I don't even know what's going on. I felt like he spotted him. Certainly has now. Either way, it's going to be Jacob that goes down. Rez with 2 impact frags in the round. And all of these kills that are coming out for NiP, they're untradeable by Renegades. Get right holding the close angle here with the SMG. He will get taken down by JKS, but there's the trades, of course, coming across for NiP. Nonetheless, the numbers advantage paying dividends right now for NiP. Gratisfaction, he's got too much work to do here with the AWP, especially missing a shot like that. I mean, either way, it wasn't going to matter. And 10 is up for NiP.
It is, and they will upgrade a few of those lackluster weaponries up to the AK-47s of the fallen opponents. Over on the side of Renegades, perfectly fine for them to be able to continue to buy into this half, but if they can't convert it into rounds, then it's not going to matter at the end of the day regardless. NiP off to another blinding start for the 3rd half in a row. All 3 of their maps that we've watched today against E United, the last map against Renegades, this map, they've been up like 10-2, 10-3.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominating their opponents.
I think the closest map score that they had was 11-4 or 12-3. Either way, both are phenomenal, really. And NiP have put their best foot forward today. Have to hope maybe for NiP that they're not peaking too early.
Different setup completely from NiP, as they don't put any emphasis on mid, really. Rez is the closest player who's just playing retake on that connector area. Well, this is a 3-man setup. Looks like they were kind of set up for either a B execute to come out from the Renegades or that Palace contact, but Renegade's going to turn this mid control into a very fast split on the B bomb site. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Lekra and Forest.
And they haven't been toward B too often, and I think that may be for the better because Forest has been an absolute machine. And he's been able to double down there onto short. JKS and Liaz, though, coming out from apartments, do get the 2 entry frags that Renegades need. NiP have a lot of time to rotate across, though, as the bomb only just now going down. Get right through the underpass. So he'll be coming up through apartments, but it's going to take him quite a while to get there. And if Renegades don't drop players on this bomb site, it is going to be a difficult one to retake for NiP.
Definitely. Particularly with Azza very close, and the fact that they're able to just drop multiple Molotovs in towards this market area. Get right now, coming through the apartments, picks off JKS.
Still 2 players to find, though, for NiP as they make their way out of the site. Get right another. And Liaz, well, he used to be the clutch master in AUCS, but when he's gone internationally, that one is a little too much for him to work with. 11-3 now for NiP. And they just put another one up on the scoreboard. Why not?
Another one. All right. Well, NiP gave Renegades everything that they could have possibly wanted in that last round. Gave them the mid-control. They said, do whatever you want. And it still wasn't enough. They just get shut down, despite the fact that you look at, you know, Forest and Lekro on that big bomb site. No one's even close enough to be able to rotate. But unfortunately, it's just multi-frags are a fact of life for NiP at this point. Even if they're in a disadvantageous situation, even if Dennis is solo on the balcony, even if Forest and Lekro are hiding on that B bomb site, they're just shutting Renegades down regardless.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fast play out onto the B bomb site, but Renegades have already lost Jacob. Liaz goes down as well, and that means the bomb has been dropped. The bomb's been spotted. NiP are going to commit to the full rotate across, and as he's kind of almost felt like a bit of a hero here for Renegades, he's doing the work in this round as well. Leaves Gratisfaction in a 2v1, however. And for Gratisfaction, this is going to need to be one of those rounds. Doesn't seem like he'll get that opportunity. There's the 12th up for NiP in the half, Pili, and that is about as good as you could ask for as NiP.
100%. Let's see how cleanly they can close it out, whether it's going to be the last map they played against Renegades or whether they'll let it back into it like they did against the United.
Yeah, certainly time for us to head to a break, everybody, but we'll see whether or not NiP can confirm their place at Qudos Bank Arena pretty soon.
Reminded myself to just let go. Don't wonder how far I can fall. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. Oh, 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 shooting through the clouds, I know it's alright, it's alright. Heavens are the limit now. Let's fly just one more night, one more night. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out.
It's been a difficult day at the office for Renegades up against NiP thus far. We're on to our second map, and 12-3 in the first half for NiP. It's also Renegades' map choice, so it doesn't fill you with a whole lot of confidence, does it, Pili? But look, Mirage is one of those maps that you can kind of come back from any scoreline.
You definitely can, but I wouldn't be backing Renegades to do it. They look very, very flat today. They don't look like they're playing to their strengths at all. They're basically just getting multi-fragged and cleaned up by some pretty basic play coming out from NiP. The individuals, firepower playing to a very, very high level from NiP, and just some really good, solid teamwork and counter flashes coming out from the lads is enough to shut down Renegades.
Certainly seems that way, but as we've said time and time again, it's not over till it's over. If you throw your mind back to IEM Sydney 2017, there was this fateful Inferno game where I do recall Renegades were down quite extensively, something like 12-3, which they came back and win. In no small thanks to a North American player. But with that said, still an opportunity, of course, for Renegades to come back into this. We're clinging on to that small bit of hope for Renegades, but it is definitely looking like NiP will be the second team through to Qudos Bank Arena, and they'll put themselves through to the upper bracket final, playing off for the semi-slot against Liquid. Really feels like a matter of time right now for NiP, especially if they get this pistol.
What a spicy matchup that could be with how solid some of these aimers on both NiP and Liquid are looking. Regardless, they got to make it there first, and Liaz under a lot of pressure. Cops a gush as well.
Yeah, Azza has been flashed out as well. Somehow, Liaz finds a pick in all of that. Eventually, he does go down, but he's done probably more than you expected him to. Now it's on to Azza, but perhaps it's Rez that we should be talking about, as he's the player that's making the entries happen for NiP right now, and he looks to continue forward. Shakem works his way through the apartment. I wonder, is NiP prepared for that? Certainly Rez was not, but Lekro has the bomb down. He is in a 2v1, and he has been spotted as well. Renegades now have lost Jacob. It's JKS into a 1v1. He actually gets some pretty critical damage there onto Lekro, but not enough to put him down to a one-shot. The time is starting to work in the favor of Lekro here. He's doing the right thing, biding his time. JKS, at the very least, does have a kit to work with, but Lekro, if he lands a headshot, this will be all over. Not quite, indeed. JKS just in time to clutch the round out for Renegades, but that was a little too close for comfort.
A must-win pistol for Renegades, and they do get it done. Not convincingly, but they get it done at the end of the day. Some pretty mixed emotions on these lads' faces at the moment. Grat's smiling, everyone else is still looking pretty grim, pretty tired and washed out at this point, but hopefully if they start to string some rounds together, maybe they can start to pick things up and get the momentum that they need to actually at least make this game competitive, because so far it hasn't looked at whether it was on Nuke or this first half. All starts here with the pistol.
Absolutely.
NiP won't be forcing into this one, just buying some deagles to try to chip away at the economy of the CT side. And we'll look to buy into the next. NiP with a lot of territory in towards middle. It's not like they've taken connector or ladder room or anything like that, but at least they do have some positions where they can potentially take some duels with the CTs if they do choose to aggress into that part of the map. Already you're seeing it. Rez had the opportunity to be able to pick Gratisfaction there.
Maybe a bit of PTSD here for Renegades, because they did lose to the Force Spy after winning the first pistol round in the first half. It's definitely not something that Renegades can afford here. At a scoreline like this, if they are to make this map work, if they're to make a comeback happen, to take every opportunity. So far, NiP have actually done the lion's share of the damage. Lekro has copped a little bit in response as well, but they're getting some good control in middle here.
They are indeed, and if they're able to turn that mid control into finding some kind of a gap or a pick in the Renegades defense, then their job gets a little bit easier with every head that they click on. More gaps start to appear that these NiP players can take advantage of if you Dennis in towards a ramp, but they won't get it. Jacob punishes that boost up there onto Rez.
Gets another one on to Get Right as well. Seems to be aware that Lekro is close. Well done from Jacob. And the CT side has definitely started better for Renegades than the T side did, though it's not really saying much.
Very clean shutdown of those deagles. Not a single player lost. That's what you want to see if you need a comeback train for Renegades. They're looking a little bit sloppier today, and if they're able to build up their economy, that gives them more room for error in terms of losing these gun rounds to being able to continue to buy on that CT side. First round in, interestingly enough, it is the glass cannon coming out of Forest.
Well, I guess NiP have a lot of rounds to play with. I thought maybe it was going to go for like an aggressive peek in towards middle, but just posted up from T-Apps, expecting a push from Renegades.
Very slow approach from Ninjas in Pyjamas. The main person who's pressuring in certain part of the map is Lekro in towards those B apartments, which maybe is something that he's doing so that later in the half, NiP can go for a bit of an execute towards the B bomb site. Creating the doubt in the CT's mind of how many players are actually over towards this B apartments is something that NiP can take advantage of later on in their Mirage T side, and something that a lot of teams do on this map in particular. Great movement from Grat to get in front of these mid-smokes and waiting for the flash to come out. He does not quite dodge it.
He's taken the peek, and Rez has taken the frag, so not a great start for Renegades here in the first gun round. It's all well and good for Renegades to be able to win the pistol, win the anti-eco, but it's the gun rounds that are going to be the make or break. It's the gun rounds that are going to win the map for NiP at this point, it looks like.
Well, you say a gun round, but they only had one M4. The rest of the weaponry across the board, Scout, 2 SMGs and a FAMAS.
I mean, you still need to win it, right?
That's right.
You're down 12 and 5.
That's right.
Doesn't matter what guns you have. The AWP in particular needed to have an impact here. It's nice from Azza. Before the pop flash does actually occur, Rez will fall. So we bring it back to a 4v4, though B does seem relatively undefended. Liaz trying to get some work done with the SMG, but he'll fall as well. And only a 1-for-1. Now puts JKS and Jacob into a precarious position. They're waiting for that push through from Dennis, but he thinks better of it. That's smart moves indeed. Renegades, as they lack that extra pick, they have decided to just go and save the guns.
Going to hold on to their highest value weaponry. So they have been shut out of this one.
Can Jacob actually pick up the orb? It is sitting on short.
Oh, it was a scout, wasn't it? Oh,
It was an orb.
No, it was a scout.
Was it a scout?
It was a scout.
I thought Grant had an orb.
No, he had a scout.
Oh, okay. Well, then I've been waffling.
That's
on.
what I was saying. It's not really
Yeah, okay.
It's only
I
one.
understand where you were coming from then. I thought it was an orb, genuinely.
No,
But I do
there it
see
is.
there. Yeah, it's a scout. The more you know. Okay.
I don't think it would have mattered in that scenario in particular what weapon he had because he didn't quite get the timing right to dodge that flashbang.
Well, while we've got a bit of a pause here, guys, I've been told that the B stream has gone to overtime in map number 2. MVP up 1-0 at the moment. So if you want to check that out, it's on ESL CSGO B.
All
pretty good
hail
match going on there.
All hail our Asian overlords.
It's an elimination match as well, by the way. MVP and E United.
Did watch your boys over on MVP come through their Pro League group over the top of Vici, so they're on the up and up, and I want to see them perform well at this tournament. However, in terms of the Asian or the ANZ teams, Renegades are not really doing it justice at the moment, but still time for them to come back into this game if they can start to string this gun rounds together. But you have to say this is one of their last chances in this map and in this series for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. You're kind of on the hot plate right now as Renegades, and it's starting to heat up a little bit. Get those sausages on the barbie. Head over to Bunnings. I think Renegades are feeling a little bit worse for wear at the moment. Gratisfaction certainly needs some help here. If he gets out of this one alive, I will be absolutely amazed. Smoke does go down, but there is really nowhere for him to go.
Here comes the short split from Ninjas.
That's nice from Gratisfaction, though. How's he managed to get that done with 10 HP? He comes up behind them, and NiP had no idea. Where else could Gratisfaction have gone?
How does that round end up that way? It felt like the Ninjas were completely on top of things. And
I was
then
just chilling, you know, like getting ready for a bit of a longer round there, and then all of a sudden it's just like Gratisfaction gets
died. Yep.
rounds over.
100%. Was going to say as well from Gratisfaction, I really hope he has his smoke on a specific keybind because he actually switched to his flash first. I really hope that Gratisfaction is not the kind of person that uses cycle through grenades because
I feel attacked, Pilly.
that's a bit of a... As a pro player, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Well, I guess, to be fair, I'm not a pro player, so there you go. It's okay for me. Anyway, Renegades do get away with it. A bit of a streaky round, though, I will say, right? I don't think that necessarily fills anyone with too much confidence. Need to see a few more from Renegades.
Yeah,
Probably more than a few.
They will put a few on the board if they're able to close this one out, Jordan, because let's look at the money on NiP. It's not great. They've really scraped their buy together in this round in particular, and you do see that because they've only got 2 pieces of utility left. Dennis can throw a Molotov at his opponents, and Rez can throw this top of connector smoke, but after that, there's not really many talking points for NiP, apart from the fact that they are pretty sick aimers, especially today. Today is definitely their day for sick aiming.
That's really where they've actually found a lot of their advantages throughout the day. You know, it hasn't really been off like mad executes or anything like that. They have just taken aim duels and won them time and time and time again. Even with the pistols. Yeah, it's something we've seen already against Renegades too. So I don't think you can count NiP out of this. You cannot count the chickens before they hatch. Jacob holding the close angle here. It feels like one where Rez could pop around the corner with the deagle. Now that he's spotted him, that's exactly what happens. Lekro also gets JKS, and all of a sudden, it starts to fall by the wayside for Renegades once again. That's a great shot, though, from Gratisfaction, but he won't get Dennis. He won't deny the bomb plant. So it's still favorable for NiP.
Is indeed, but Renegades need to pick up the pace. They don't have the utility to flush these Ts out of their post-plant positions. And on top of balcony, Lekro's just one-tapping people in CT spawn.
Oh no, and Liaz doesn't quite finish that frag off. That was really their opening back into this round, Renegades. I think now it's all said and done. That is for sure. This gun round going the way of NiP. And it wasn't even really a full gun round out from the Ninjas in Pajamas either. It was just a few AKs, the deagle in there as well. It wasn't a perfect buy, but they make it work.
Hey man, no difference for Rez. AK, deagle, the man clicks on head. It doesn't matter what weapon he has.
Exactly right. And it's another nail in the coffin for Renegades in this particular matchup.
Alright, so up 14 and 6. Doesn't look like NiP are going to let this one get away from them. And over on the side of the Renegades, I think only one of the lads really has any money, as far as I'm aware. And yes, indeed, just Gratisfaction.
So what do you do here?
I think
Renegades?
you force buy and you try to make it work, but you ultimately are probably going to lose.
Is Grat going for glass cannon or?
100%. I would put Grat on the glass cannon. I'd probably give, I don't know, Jacob like a Famis or something, and then I'd probably set up as a Liaz JKS. You could potentially like stack the A bomb site, try to get Grat to control middle or something like that. Just do something gambly, really do some kind of a gimmicky setup and hope that you get away with it. Because if you play straight, if you buy in this round and you play straight up against NiP, you're not going to get the win on the board.
Looks like it is going to be an eco, just from the buy that we saw, and it is. P250's out across the board. So, okay, Renegades are going to get a decent buy through next round, but they're playing for overtime at that point. There is no wiggle room.
I don't know about that one. I feel like you really have to cut your corners if you're going to be coming it back into this game, particularly with the way that NiP are playing.
Yeah. Either way, it is a difficult scenario for Renegades. So, I think we can argue backwards and forwards about the buy, when in reality, it probably doesn't matter.
NiP just going to edge their way out middle. Not interested in the extremities at this point. Lecro just checks underpass, and now he's going to keep an eye on this B apartments. No real sound being made. Looks like NiP going to be winding up. I mean, what looks like a short split, but is potential time for them to do whatever they want with this round.
I mean, is there a world in which Renegades somehow wins this round?
Yep.
That is like the dream scenario for them at the moment. It's a 4-man stack on B. So
right.
If it's going to come from anything, it may well actually come from the 4-man stack.
There's no money man for NiP here at all. They're really just going in with the philosophy of, well, we're in pretty good positions. We have better weaponry.
Seems like they're heading toward that B bomb site. Do the Australian fans dare to hope that Renegades might be able to find something here? It's a good start. Gratisfaction with the flashbang.
Look at NiP pump the brakes, though.
But Liaz gets another one. Now it's a 2v3. NiP starting to make their way over toward A. Azar, if he wins this duel, he might have won the round. But there we go. NiP, they claw their way back into it. And Gratisfaction is going to be forced out of this position by the Molotov. But he's actually managed to get a kill onto Forest. And JKS is so close here, but he can't deny the bomb plant. He can't win the round. And NiP, they avoid... well, not quite a disastrous situation, but certainly something less than ideal. And now they're on to match point. It's Qudos Bank Arena point as well.
Takes a lot of discipline to be 1 foot, one whole leg basically into the B bomb site and then just be like, well, this is a stack. I'm going to be noping out of here.
Yep.
And despite it going down into the 3-on-5 and giving away the weaponries over towards Renegades, NiP still don't make it happen, and Rez in particular, look at that. The man holding on to mid-control by himself and not allowing Renegades to get an advantage in terms of the rotation. But this round in particular, 2 frags going the way of Renegades in middle. They're off to a great start.
Yeah, well, needs to be more than just a great start for Renegades. Let's see if that save is worth it. If Renegades is going to be able to really put any more pressure onto NiP than what they realistically already have, which is not a whole lot. Get right, 1v5. Not much to happen for him here in this round. Be nice to see, though, for Renegades to take all these guns through, build that utility up, build that money up. Start to feel a bit more relaxed on this CT side.
Speaking of the money, NiP's been doing so much winning of the rounds that they haven't got any loss bonus to fall back on, so that's a hard $1,500 in the bank for Forest. Very, very weird money situation here for NiP. Just going to give Renegades a bit of room to work with to start to build up their money and string some rounds together. However, I think NiP just have so much room in this game in particular that they should be able to close things out regardless. It's going to be a very, very long road for the comeback for Renegades, and with how flat they've been looking so far in this series, I don't know how likely that is.
Well, I feel like you've said that a few times. Yet we're still here. We're still watching Renegades struggle against NiP. I think that's fair to say. A good buy coming through here, of course, for Renegades. Not so the case for NiP. So we will have to wait a little longer before the end of this map does occur.
There's actually a pause from NiP, just having a chat about what they want to do with their money and planning out the next couple of rounds. Not only how they want to manage their economy, but also have a chat about how they want to close out this game. They don't want things to be slipping too far into the control of Renegades. They just want to get this done quick and clean. 2 map up. Don't let Renegades get too many rounds on the board and just end things. So So not many pistols being purchased into this one for NiP. It's looking like it could be potential for a double eco here, considering how poor Forest is, but maybe he's fine to make do.
That'll be a nice grenade through from Azza. He's managed to get the frag onto Lekro, but yeah, I still feel as though NiP actually look pretty scary with these pistols. There's always that element of, oh, what if they get that pick? What if they get another pick? And then Renegades just sort of collapses off the back of the pistol tsunami, really. It's happened before. Okay, first frag has gone the way of Renegades, but there's a trade back for NiP.
Look at the group up towards the B apartments. It's only really JKS in position to be able to deal with it, and the man's got no utility. Oh, sorry, Liaz to be able to deal with it, and the man's got no utility to be able to fall back on.
Yeah, if this goes awry for Renegades, it would be a very bitter way to lose the second map. And he's got a lot of players to deal with. It's the firing squad for NiP.
No one's even in a position to be able to rotate. Closest player is Grat in towards Market. Does punish Rez for trying to cross towards that bench area.
Qudos Faction may well have just saved the day there. Still, a bomb down for NiP. They won't be too disappointed by that, particularly when you were saying the money was looking pretty bad for NiP going into that round. Maybe a double eco kind of territory. Well, whatever the case, that bomb down is going to help.
Particularly the kill for Forest on top of the bomb plant. That's really going to boost up their cash, and it's going to be a full all-out gun round in this round in particular for the Ninjas. Over on the side of Renegades, a couple guns dropped, but they will be totally fine in terms of the money. Not much to really be saying about that round in particular.
Oh, that's pretty sharp.
Good pick on to get right, crossing off the bomb side after getting that bomb plant down.
I suppose that is what you need to see from Qudos Faction in these big matches against the Tier 1 opponents.
Yep. So it's a 2-on-2 setup for the Renegades. Actually, they're just going to post Grat up into the apartments there, and Az is going to make his way over towards middle.
No real control in mid, though, itself for Renegades.
No, they're probably just going to poke and prod in the mid round and just try to find some aggression or a peak or some advantage in that part of the map. NiP have put a lot of emphasis and utility over towards this middle area, but they're not actually getting any control in that part of the map. Not going to send Rez up connector or anything like that in this round in particular. Instead, very quickly grouping up towards this A bomb site.
Grat feeling the pressure as well. Will throw the smoke down, so utility starting to be expended by Renegades.
And it's actually Liaz's top of connector here. He has a double flash to be able to dump over this A bomb site once the utility comes in for NiP to be able to support JKS as well as Jacob. So
it's a good setup on A from Renegades, but they
100%.
have struggled to hold it at times against NiP. Let's see if this is going to be any different.
Molotov's holding NiP back at bay for now. Out they come.
Right, going to lead the charge. Will check sandwich. That should be the end of Jacob, but he hits a fantastic shot, and actually, somehow, he gets Lekro as well. All of a sudden, Renegades, looks like they'll win this round. JKS, how's he hit that? Like, all of these kills coming out from Renegades are just absolutely ludicrous.
Well,
we're up to 15-9.
I love how Az is actually the one to rotate in through jungle and throw those two flashes over the site that create space for Jacob and JKS to actually shoot those NiP players after they come out after the mollies. Liaz doesn't even dump either of his flashes. He just sits behind the smoke, spamming away, drops the molly into Palace. So it's really the utility that shuts that down for NiP. They go for that A execute. The mollies slow them down enough for the rotations to come out, and then those counter flashes just create room for these players on the site.
Whew. Well, scary times there for Renegades, but they scrape on by. They keep on keeping on. 15-9. Is it possible for Renegades to come back in this map?
Maybe not against pistols. I'd be scared.
Yeah, I would.
I want to be taking this one for granted.
Definitely not. Right, just creep through the smoke here. If he catches Jacob off on the reload, that is going to be bad indeed. But Jacob, he's going to be okay. Proceedings have slowed down a little bit though, as NiP will start to work their way through on the pass. Fair bit of utility still available though for Renegades, which is going to slow down the progress.
Here, if they're able to close this one out fairly cleanly, they have a lot of money to play with, which means that even if they do win some close-ish kind of rounds on the comeback train, they can continue to just keep jamming those AWPs into the hands of Qudos Faction. Keep grabbing the AUGs as well. Oh my god, how has Dennis been allowed to slip in through the murder hole here?
Oh, this could be the end. This could surely be the end for Renegades. Dennis gets one on the Qudos Faction. Now there's so much chaos for Renegades on this B bomb side, but Azza and Liaz will hold strong. Azza finishes it off. But that's the kind of thing that you just see and you think, oh, goodness me, how's this happened?
Yep.
If that happens on, you know, a bit more of a kind of a a closer round, maybe, where they've got guns, for example, that's it. Renegades is done there.
No, definitely gaps in this Renegades CT side.
They survive again. That, I think, has been the storyline, really, in this second half. It's been Renegades surviving.
Yep. Last time out here for NiP as they think about how they want to close this one out. Obviously, they are building up a lot of loss bonus, which is what makes it all the harder for a team like Renegades to be able to come back and actually win a game like this. Because when, you know, guns and some of the util is so cheap on the T side, they can just buy and buy and buy and run any kind of strat they want, constantly just adapt and try new things just to be able to put that last sort of round on the board and actually push it over the line.
Getting another feeling like what we saw against a United, though, for NiP, where they get off to that great lead. And then in the second half, things start to slow down a little bit for them. So I think if this is going to be something that we're going to see throughout this tournament, maybe it's not going to be an issue against a United. Maybe it's not going to be an issue against Renegades. But when you're going up against a team like Liquid in the next match, if they do win here NiP, then you get off to a good start. You better believe you need to finish that map off. You can't give a team like Liquid a chance to come back in. Maybe you can't even give a chance like Renegades to come in. A team like Renegades to come back in.
I think a similar thing from NiP in the first game against the United, where they slowed things down on their T side a lot and took a while to sort of get things on board. Now in this round in particular, just Dennis putting pressure towards Apartments, but Liaz nice off angle, catches him off, which is going to speed up this execution in towards the A bomb site. But again, it's a two-man setup. JKS as well as Gratisfaction here.
Jacob will be smoked off. Gratisfaction missed that first shot, but JKS is good for at least get right. Gratisfaction spam through the box. Rez has been an absolute danger for Renegades thus far, but not so much this round. JKS and Jacob. No jokes about it. 15-11, another one up for Renegades. And now it's kind of starting to get believable, right? It's still a long way to go for Renegades, but at least 4 rounds is better than what it was before, 9 or 10 or something like that.
And NiP's money's a bit shaky, so they're going to have to take a bit of a half buy, but as we saw the last time NiP had pistols, all it's going to take, because they have 15 rounds, is just that one mistake, and we saw that Dennis was able to get behind them up through Murder Hole. There definitely is gaps to be able to exploit in this Renegades defense, but every single time on these T-Gun rounds, it feels like NiP is trying to hit them in the most solid parts of their actual setup. Constantly going towards this A bomb site and getting shut down. Perhaps time for NiP to try something a little bit different.
Well, it's another slower round out here from NiP. Perhaps looking for some picks with those Deagles. There is 5 of them, and they have had a tendency to be impactful so far for NiP. Gratisfaction is playing with fire. But Dennis won't connect the shot.
Good old Cassard cam. Please don't get anti-ecoed.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he's been thinking for like literally this entire map.
The first time that Deagle headshot comes out from one of the NiP players, his heart palpitations start. Yeah. His blood pressure starts to rise.
You know, I think that's what we need, right? You get that in some traditional sports where the players or the coach or someone is wearing a heart monitor. I'd love to see that actually in a game like this.
I think they've done that at a few gaming events once or twice, but it's a bit of a gimmick, I think.
So I'd be up like around 120, something like that.
Liaz, you know, regardless of the scoreline, the man's probably just got the same heart rate regardless. His expression never changes.
Yeah.
Probably sitting straight 60 the entire time.
I feel like that's a bit low.
I know.
Is it like a resting heart rate like 70?
Yeah, no, look at him. He's well below average.
He doesn't care. But hey, we're 3 rounds away now. It's slowly counting down. Renegades are getting there. 15-12. It would be a heartbreaker for Renegades to drop the map now.
This time, NiP throwing out the utility over towards that middle area, and they're just going to leave Dennis there and go contact out SA ramp straight through the smoke and out Palace. JKS under a lot of pressure here.
Well, this might be the round. A good opener for NiP. Get right and Rez, finding one apiece, and you're starting to feel as though it's possible for them to finally hit that 16. Rez with another. It's JKS to go down, and now Azza and Gratisfaction have the clutch of all times on their hands if they win the round. But it's 16-12. NiP will go through to Qudos Bank Arena, and they finally gotten the job done.
Slowed it down a little bit, just like they did against the United, but got it across the line eventually on that T side, and that's straight through to the arena and straight through to the semi-final match going up against Liquid, or securing the semi-final rather.
Absolutely. Well, you've heard all about it from us. Now time to hear about it from Trace and the boys on the analyst desk.